everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josiah, and today we are going to be doing episode 3 of my summer stack series. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what this series is, you can check out our previous episodes up here. Basically, this series is a series in which I'm covering everything involving the idea of the stacked deck. Well, not necessarily everything, but kind of more of an introduction to the idea of performing a card trick with a deck that has been preset in a certain order. In a few videos here we'll begin covering some tricks that we can do with the size down and stack, which is the stack we're going to focus on in the very beginning. And that's one of the episodes I talked about. However, in my last episode I talked about ways in which you can cut a deck of playing cards and have it retain its order. In this video we're going to be talking about ways in which you can shuffle a deck of playing cards and have it retain its order. Well, not necessarily ways. That was what I was originally going to do, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do a tutorial for one way, my favorite way of doing it, and then I'll give you some extra links at the end of this video, just some extra places and extra resources where you can go learn some other pretty cool false shuffles. So today, we are going to be learning the Zarrow Shuffle, which was created by a magician by the name of Zarrow. And this particular false shuffle is my favorite because I think it's very fair, because in most shuffles, as far as false shuffles go, you usually have to do some sort of shuffle. You have to do 2 shuffles in a row or 1 cut. With this shuffle, it's 1 shuffle. It looks very fair to your spectators, and yet the cards retain their order. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this, but let's just get into the tutorial. Alright, in this video I'm going to be using the Blueberry Mint playing cards by 52 Cards. This is one of my favorite decks of playing cards. I have used it here on the channel before, I believe anyway, but it is a pretty cool deck of cards. So, basically, first off, the best way to begin practicing this is just to practice the motion. Don't worry about actually retaining the order. Just learn the motion, then set up the deck and begin working on the actual proper mechanics of it, in which you have to retain the order of the deck. So, for me personally, I've set it up in a new, my deck of cards at least, in a new deck order, which means that I have 2 jokers here on the top, then I have Ace through King of Spades, Ace through King of Diamonds, then I have King through Ace of Clubs, and King through Ace of Hearts. And that is the setup that I have, and that's just for demonstration in this video. So, first off, before we learn the Zarrow Shuffle, the first thing we need to learn is we need to learn how to do a tabled Riffle Shuffle. Now, I'm not going to be teaching an in-the-hands Riffle Shuffle in this video, but I might be teaching it in another video later. For now, I'm going to go grab a deck of cards with which we are going to learn the tabled Riffle Shuffle. Alright, so let's learn the tabled Riffle Shuffle. So basically, the tabled Riffle Shuffle looks like this from behind. Basically, you're just riffling 2 halves together on the table and then pushing them together. So, basically, the way this is done is you're going to break 1 packet off to either side. And you're going to grip the cards in this position. You're going to put these 2 fingers on the outer edges of the cards, here, like that, okay? And then you're going to put your thumbs at the inner edges of the cards, just like that, okay? And your index fingers can kind of curl on top. So if you apply downward pressure with your index fingers and you hold the front of the card steady against the table with your middle and ring finger, which are on top, what you'll find is that if you pull up with your thumb, you'll end in this sort of position here. So, and you'll feel tension in the cards. We've talked about tension with riffling cards in the past. Same idea. You're just going to create a bend in the cards that would look something like this, so that you can get some tension built up within the cards, and that will allow you to release cards one by one with either thumb to riffle them off like that, okay? And then all you do is you just have to practice this until you get it, is you just release one and then another. And so then you end up alternating a riffle between them, okay? So it's just something you have to practice. You just split, get that pressure, release one by one, alternating between your 2 hands, okay? And that's basically all there is to doing a tabled Riffle Shuffle. It's just something you're going to have to practice, and I'll leave a link to a more in-depth tutorial down below. I just didn't want to waste a lot of time in this tutorial covering that particular technique. Alright, now let's look at the tabled Zarrow Shuffle, or just the Zarrow Shuffle, I guess. So basically, the way this works is very simple. All you're going to do, well, I say that it's not very simple. This is a very advanced technique. It's one you're going to have to spend a lot of time practicing, but once you practice this, it will get a lot easier for you. So, basically, the way you're going to do this is you're going to begin by splitting about the bottom half of cards to the right, but as you do so, you're going to use your right index finger on top to drag along this top card. And so basically all you're doing is a slip cut. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier, if you have a surface like a card mat like I have, or you can use a couch cushion or anything, it's much easier to do the Zarrow Shuffle there because you really have to be able to pick up the cards very easily. Another thing you could do is you could just give the cards a bend like this. That way you can very easily pick it up on any surface. But it's best to use a surface like this where there has a little bit of give and it has good traction, so you can pick up cards easier. But you're going to slip cut again. You grab about half the cards from underneath. You cut them to the right, and as you do so, you're going to do a slip cut by using your index finger to drag along this top card. Okay, just like that. Then you can tap the halves on their front edges, short edges like this, just to square it up a little bit. And then you tilt them to get them into that V-shaped position that you're going to need to riffle them off, okay? And you're going to riffle them off like normal for most of the way. And then once you get toward the end, you're going to release until you just have one card here left in your right hand. You're going to drop all the cards from your left hand, left thumb, and drop the card on your right. So once again, let me run through that real quickly one more time. Basically, you do that slip cut motion. You can tap to square up, which is probably helpful. Then you riffle regularly until you have one card left in this hand. Drop all the rest of the cards in this hand, and then get like that. So you should end in a position that looks something like this, with this card just floating on top. So, at this point, what you want to do is you're going to use your index finger to push forward this card, and more importantly, you want to push over both cards just a little bit, okay? Not that much, though. You just push them over like this, okay? And this is the main card you want to focus on, because what you're actually going to do is, under the cover of squaring up the cards, you're actually going to dislocate the two packets. And the cover for dislocating them will be underneath that top card, okay? So you get here, you shuffle, we do that shuffling thing that I showed you. You push forward, and as you turn this way, as you turn in this way, you're going to pull these hands apart just enough that you'll feel the two packets disconnect from each other. So these two packets are completely separate. They're no longer interweaved with each other. However, to the spectator, it looks like they're still interweaved because this top card is providing some cover for the particular instance. Okay. Now I know on video, on the performance, it did not look so great. It does not look great on camera. It is not necessarily very much of a camera thing. You really have to do it very quickly to do it on camera, and for most, when you're doing actual shuffling in real life, it's best not to do a lot of quick shuffles, because that really will create the illusion, or it will tell your spectators that you have a skill, okay? And that's something we want to avoid. We want to avoid letting our spectators know, or showing to them as much as possible, that we have skill. Which means that, you know, fancy cardistry is fun, but when you do that in front of your spectators, that skill does become the answer to any magic that you do, whether or not you actually used it. So it's important that we keep that in mind when we do this, because this will not look good on camera when it's done slowly, but it does look pretty good in person with some misdirection. It will really help to make this go a long way. So anyway, back to the tutorial. So once again, you're in this position. All you have to do is lift up with your left hand just slightly and push that packet in underneath the top card and square completely up. And that is the entire Zarrow Shuffle procedure. You will have retained the order of the cards. So, one more time. Slip cut as you drag the bottom half to the right. Shuffle. Leave one card on top. Push forward this top card. Dislodge. And shift this packet between the top card and that packet and square up. And that is it. That is all there is to the Zarrow Shuffle. I hope that was a pretty good tutorial. I tried to keep it pretty relatively short this time. I'll leave a link to some other resources where you can go learn it down below. Consider this an introduction to the Zarrow Shuffle. Do not consider this the final word on it, because there's so much more that you can pursue in this. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, let's just head to the outro. Alright, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. I did create a new trailer for the channel, much better than my original video, welcoming people to my channel. That video was very bad. The video itself, I think I did an okay job explaining what I wanted the channel to be about, but the background music and the editing was just not very good. So the channel trailer works much better in my opinion. So go check that out if you have not yet. And anyway, I'll leave a link to a couple more of my favorite fall shuffles down below. And I can't wait to see you in the next video, which will be a very special surprise because, I'll be honest with you, I don't use false cuts and shuffles that much anymore. I really don't. And in the next video, I will explain why. So, keeping you in suspense. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.